Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to another Geek Vibes live review. I am your host, Tia, and I have with me the amazing Dom and Kelly, and we are breaking down the third season of Amazon Prime's The Boys. Slight spoiler warning. We will try not to, I guess, spoil everything, but there are definitely a few things that we want to talk about, specifically pertaining to the end of season 3. Before I even get through this, hey Dom, hey Kelly, how are both of you lovely people doing?
Doing wonderful, Tia. Thank you.
I'm good. I'm good. It's hot down here, but I'm surviving.
I feel like your guys' like AC bills must be so high because you're in the south and it must just get so much hotter than it does here in the north.
Yeah, it's stupid. Like right now, I think every day it's been pushing 100, and next week they're like 103, 104, plus the humidity. I'm like, I'm gonna
Can't
melt.
catch a break. Gotta start getting creative.
Yeah, butt naked everywhere I go.
Everywhere. That's the trick of it. You suddenly became translucent. I was I was like briefly rewatching the first season of The Boys, and I'm like, I forgot that you existed, but we have The Boys season 3, and I just want to start with asking both of you guys what your like general thoughts of season 3 were. Like, did it live up to the first two seasons, and was there a specific character that came out being your favorite? So I'm going to start with you, Dom, about that question.
yeah. So this is a show that, because it pushes so many boundaries and goes there and does whatever the hell it wants to do, it almost seems like it'd be very difficult every season to take it to new heights. And they, especially just after the first episode, you're like, oh, they're going there. I love the season. Every character got like a good chunk of time to themselves to where now you really can establish a favorite character. Um, MM is one of mine. I also really like enjoyed Frenchie this season. I feel bad. I feel bad for him. Like he's just trying to be himself, and no one wants to let him do that. But no, I mean, the action is gruesome. Just the other two seasons, and uh, some of those surprises that we get, especially I told a buddy of mine after watching the whole season, I was like, wait till Hero Gasm. He was like, what is that? I said, you'll see. Just wait. But I love this season. It's my favorite so far. And I don't know how they're gonna top it, but I'm sure they'll find a way.
Yeah, my main takeaway from watching this season, especially after that first episode, I sat there and go, the writers behind this show literally are on top of everything. Like, as soon as, and again, graphic, I guess, warning here in the first episode, when like I forget his name now, the tiny guy who's clearly supposed to be Ant-Man, like as soon as he like goes inside of that dude and sneezes and blows him up, I'm like, this is an Ant-Man reference. So when the whole internet was like, just go into Thanos' ass and explode, and it's like they're on top of everything and they critique everything, whether it's Marvel, DC, politics, everything. I mean, the episode where they had A Train with like, doing the Kendall Jenner, and it's like that was a few years ago, but it's still like, oh shit, that reference. So
Not the
there's
Pepsi.
the Pepsi, yeah, exactly. And he's like, we got to come together.
And yeah, what was the Gal Gadot song? Like,
Oh, and they started doing the Imagine.
I was cracking up when they did that.
I was like, holy shit, they're on top of everything. So I thought that it was just as good as seasons 1 and 2. I really enjoyed it. At this point now, we've developed the characters, we're into it, we're not being introduced. So they have the ability to like hit the ground running. I want to say that I came out of this season just like Dom, like really feeling bad for Frenchie. And just loving the development in his relationship with Kamiko. Because even though they're obviously romantic, I loved how she put it, where it's like, you're my family. And it was just something much more than even a romantic relationship. It just like transcended that. So I just loved them together. Like I could watch a whole spin-off of just them two, and it was amazing. But
A musical with them too, any day.
oh my God, so good.
La La Land little musical number was great.
It was so good. I loved it. And I love when she was like hugging Frenchie after her powers went away. And she was like, oh, normally your arms feel like spaghetti or something to me. And I'm like, I loved it. But Kelly, what were your thoughts on this season? And did you walk away with a favorite?
I mean, basically all the things you guys said, they literally had ripped from headline plot points throughout the whole season, which made it enjoyable. It was very timely. They made very clear political statements throughout the season. And I think they really amped up the theme of commercialization too, which has obviously been a thing from season one. But as I like to think of this season, it's just more. I mean, more guts, there's more sex, more soups, more diabolical schemes. It just, everything was amped up. And I was worried going into this season that it would get a little bit redundant or not fresh. I do think they did take a slightly different angle this season. Worked really well. And now I'm just wondering, okay, can we carry that through to a fourth season? And maybe fourth season is a good place to wrap it up so that it doesn't get played out and it goes out on a strong point.
Yeah, that was one of the like topics that I wanted to touch upon in this review. And I know this is like really going straight to the end, but what better time than now? My thing is that I think that either the boys should end at season 4, or if you want to continue, you have to kill off Homelander. Because at this point, I will say if I had one criticism for season 3, it was that we had a character like Soldier Boy who could have taken Homelander down, the main objective for 3 seasons, only for that to be like ripped away at the very end, where it's like, okay, clearly you guys want to keep Anthony Starr around, which is like fine, he's a great actor, we've obviously seen how great he is, but it might get a little redundant if it's like we're like 7 seasons in and every season Homelander gets away. So it's like either kill him off or put a new big bad in place, or just end it at season 4 and make it a really solid like small series. I don't think anyone really would be upset by that. But what are your thoughts on that, Dom? Do you think that, what do you foresee their future? Like, will the boys become redundant if they just don't stop with the whole let's kill Homelander plot?
Yeah, for sure. I think Kripke and Seth Rogen, I believe they're all friends with Robert Kirkman. Mm-hmm. And we saw how people jumped off the Walking Dead train after like season 7. People kind of just like, I know, like I was a big fan. I haven't watched the last 2 seasons like I thought I would, because it did become just like, where's the end? And you can't see it at all. Like everybody, just like Game of Thrones, I want a big character to die. I want like everybody to be dispensable because it makes every week exciting. And so hopefully they do like Schitt's Creek. You end on a high note, mm-hmm. and you have a perfect series that people want more, but that's what you want them to, have. You want them to want more, but not get it. And that's why the show was that great. But I don't know. I mean, Amazon seems to be pretty good about their series not going too long. But if this brings in a lot of money and streaming wars, they might take it a little too far. But I would hope that with all the hands they have in place, they'll know better to not go too far.
I mean, maybe they do hopefully like spin off. Like I know they already have a spin-off, I think, in the works. Then they also have like an animated spin-off. Yeah, so it's like
a Diabolical thing, which is funny because after watching Diabolical, it's kind of little one-offs, like almost like a anthology type of series, mm-hmm. but some of the stuff does play into the season, just not in the same exact way. Like there is a orphanage in one of the episodes. There is like people buying product from Vought to like change the way they look, essentially like a superpower. And it only lasts like a certain amount of time, with V24. So they did good with that. But a lot of people, there's not a huge audience, I don't think, for animated boys spinoff. I don't know how well this one did, but yeah, I mean they have plenty of characters they could do something different with after the fact. But I mean maybe they do something with Soldier Boy, like we get like a whole how he got to where he was, because I doubt the next season dives too much into that, maybe a little bit, but I don't know, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I do wonder if Jensen Ackles even now has like a career still with the boys, or was this their way of him having like a one and done season? But in my mind, I'm like, Jensen Ackles, Jensen Ackles isn't doing anything. Supernatural ended. It's like keep him going. No, so that brings me into talking about Soldier Boy. Now, listen, I know that Soldier Boy was an asshole, right? We all know that. Definitely displayed a lot of old toxic traits and everything. But I think the former Supernatural fan of me is like, ooh, Jensen Ackles. So Kelly, I saw you also, go, so talk to me about Soldier Boy and your thoughts and everything.
Well, I quickly want to say on the Homelander thing that I'm just a little torn, because as slowly as it's happening, we are seeing some humanity to him. There's clearly a lot of like suppressed trauma there. And I feel like he is trying in some part to do right by his son. The one thing that I was like, oh no, was like that last scene with the little smile on Ryan's face. I was like, no, don't corrupt his little precious soul. But I do think he is kind of evolving, and that might be a direction they could take it with. I agree that it cannot continue like, oh, he's the bad guy. But maybe there is some way for him to just continue evolving, and maybe like, I don't know, there comes a worse villain for them to fight off. But when it comes to Soldier Boy, yeah, I just loved him in that role. I thought he did a really great job. And obviously I'm a fan too. I do wish we did get more of his backstory. I mean, we got it from a certain point, really. And then him all these years later, where he's clearly like not all there, he's blacking out. And, he still has all these really antiquated ideals. So I think it would be really interesting to see how he got to that point, as you said, which they did touch on a little bit about him trying to, live up to his father's expectations. And that's why he went into the whole experiment in the first place. But I do feel like we could have seen more of him, and I wanted to see more of him. So
I definitely did too. And especially, it was so interesting not only seeing Jensen Ackles in this role, but also seeing how they even developed the role of Soldier Boy, because from my reading, and now I've never read the comics, but I've read like the backstories. Soldier Boy in the comics is completely different. He's like a coward. He like gets so nervous that he like pees on himself. Like that's literally one of his character's traits. So they totally ignored that. They were like, let's go in this direction instead. And it would have been, I think, really cool to see him like interacting with a lot more characters. I will say one of my favorite parts, and again, as bad as he was, because he obviously displayed a lot of like toxic masculinity, a lot of like old school thinking that's like so outdated and antiquated. But I loved kind of when I loved when he squashed Homelander's like need for approval. He was like, Dad, and Soldier Boy was like, wow, you're my offspring, Jesus. That's a terrible thing. So I really like the character Soldier Boy. I was happy when he wasn't killed at the end, but I also was like, oh, they're putting him back on ice essentially. So I'm pretty sure that's the last we're going to see of Soldier Boy, but he's still alive, so who knows if there's some plan down the road.
Feels
Dom,
like a lot more people should have died, and like I don't know how they survived most of this season.
that well, that is one thing is that
People.
well, that is one thing that I really thought that was going to be like the end of Maeve. I was like, this is her making like the heroic decision, which again, I loved because at the end, my one criticism was that, okay, the whole point was to get Homelander. And because now Ryan is in the middle, now it's, oh, now we're all against Soldier Boy. And Maeve like was like, fuck this. Homelander's the problem. And she kept going at it. So I really thought they were going to kill her character off. I guess it's cool that she now gets to live like a normal life, but now I just feel like you took a player off that you kind of really needed. But Dom, what are your thoughts on Soldier Boy? And then we can also get into who else did you think should have died?
No, Soldier Boy, I think I liked him a lot because he is the in my mind the representation of like a more realistic Captain America, like a guy who gets frozen in a time period where like he was the man and the white man's on top and I can do what I want to do, to like waking up and he's like, hold on, there's two guys holding hands and why is there's a woman in charge? Like he's so confused. And it's like you said, his traits didn't wear off, and him having to possibly adjust if he wants to, but he kind of doesn't have to because who's going to stop him? But it's very interesting. Like there's a Captain America skit that's kind of similar to that. Like, what would happen if he just woke up and you're like the first black person he sees? You know what I mean? It's kind of funny. But no, his character is really good. I thought, as much as I love Kimiko, that was the perfect opportunity to like show how strong whatever that CBL red thing that was done to Soldier Boy. That's a perfect time to show exactly what it can do. That hey, it not only can take powers away, but it can also like she's dead. Like sorry, So and that would have gave Frenchie's arc that much more of a turn. It went maybe he would have like, you know what, fuck you guys. I'm tired of this shit. I lost the one person who meant something to me. You know what I mean? They could have done a little bit more. I love Camp Fakara. I would never want to see her killed off, but I thought that would have been a nice turn.
It would have. I thought that she was certainly done for. I thought Maeve was done for. But in the end, the only person we really lost was Black Noir, which was crazy after everything we learned in this season. So, first of all, I have to say, in the comics, Black Noir is supposed to be like Homelander's clone. That's who he is under the mask. So I always was wondering if they were going to do that or not. And we see they decide to go in a different direction. But I had an oh shit moment. I don't know if you guys had the same oh shit moment, but I never took into account that Homelander could see underneath Black Noir's mask. So when he
Yeah.
so when he was like, I see when you're happy, I see when you're sad, when you're lying, I was like, oh shit. So you guys had the same like reaction, right?
Yeah, they definitely made him like we learned just how powerful Homelander is. Like he's is unstoppable unless Soldier Boy is able to one day do something. I mean, I didn't know that he was that overpowered, but he can. I mean, there's nothing you can do. Like he lets people, do what they want. He's like pulling the puppet strings essentially, except he's scared to stand apparently. But I mean, he could kill everybody. But like Kelly was saying, there is that humanity in him that like he kind of wants to do better, but as soon as someone points a finger or makes him look bad, he's like, nope, fuck it, I'm going back to myself.
He very much
But like Soldier Boy put it perfectly. He's like, you need love and attention and blah blah blah. And he framed that in a negative light, but it's almost like because he didn't get that his whole life, that's why he's that way. But maybe there's an opportunity to like overcome and bridge that gap and maybe he'll never be perfect, right? But, maybe become better to a point where it's not like, okay, this is the big baddie that we're trying to bring down every season.
I mean, he definitely has a lot of emotional trauma from his upbringing and from not being loved at all. I mean, to me, I really believe he never believed like Stormfront's bullshit, but the fact that she like cared about him and was like, oh, look, all these other people care about you. He's like, people care about me. It's like, yeah, but not in like the way that you want them to. They only like you because you fit into this like really racist ideology for them, and that's the only reason why.
Whiny white man
Yeah,
about cancel culture.
it's I don't know. By the way, what did you guys think about Stormfront, it revealing that she was alive, but then her like killing herself in the second episode? Kelly, I'll start with you.
It just felt like one of those things that again was like extra and unnecessary, like with Maeve. Like, oh, why? I don't know. To me, I was like, didn't feel like it was needed to further the plot or the storyline in any way.
Dom, do you feel the same way?
I think she was alive for the handicap hand job. I feel like that's what she is saying.
Wait, not to interrupt you. That was the one moment where I was like, okay, this is real extra. Like, you think that he's gonna hold her hand, and then it goes in the opposite direction. I'm like, oh, come on. This show has made me watch a lot of weird shit, but this.
No, it did. Like, they definitely got into weirder shit this season for sure.
Oh
yeah, I don't know if she was. Yeah, she wasn't really needed. I think I think possibly what she was supposed to convey is that like she took the coward's way out instead of looking at her loss and realizing that like the bullshit you were trying to, convey to everyone or trying to push forward wasn't gonna work. And then she just like took the coward's way out.
Well, she definitely, her attitude this season for the 2 episodes we got her in was definitely different than season 2, because in season 2 she tried to convey this very like strong-willed, tough character, and this she's like visibly upset that he doesn't want to like lead an army of like, blonde hair, blue eyes, people and everything. And I mean, I did like that he shut that down. It's like, oh wow, Homelander, you have like one good attribute. So yeah, no, I was just surprised to see Stormfront alive. I was like, oh shit, because I could have sworn the actress was saying that she wasn't going to be in the season, but I was like,
that's what I thought too.
Yeah, but all right, so moving on. I know the one thing that I think we all agreed that we wanted to talk about was the V24. So we see characters in this season like Billy and Huey get powers, but only temporary. And we find out that it's going to kill them. We definitely know it's killing Billy. So, what are our thoughts on a V24? I will start with Kelly.
I knew there had to be some kind of catch to it. Otherwise, I mean, it would become like a mass populated drug. But I think it was interesting from the standpoint of them having to decide which parts of them they were willing to lose to try to win this battle, right? And becoming the things that they were so against. There was something Huey said, and I can't remember the exact line, but like something along the lines of we have to get on their playing field in order to be able to, even contend with the whole thing. So I thought it was an interesting add to the plot line, and it was fun seeing them being able to use powers and like have that to their advantage, but then also finding out, I was like, oh no, okay, when Butcher, blacked out or passed out towards the end, I was like, oh, he's out for the count, like he's done. And is Huey next? But I don't think, how many doses did Huey end up taking? Like I think he was on his third. He picked up that vial, but he never took it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they said pretty much like the fourth or fifth one was like almost guaranteed to kill you. So I think that a lot of this show, as much as it's like Homelanders or Starlights or Huey's, it's very much Billy's arc. And I think that his road, quote unquote, to redemption is going to be the fact that he has a timestamp on him. Before I pass it to you, Dom, I want to ask, did you notice that the powers that Billy and Huey got were so like Billy got powers pretty much that Homelander has, the one person that he hates more than anyone else. And then Huey gets the powers that A-Train has, the very person who killed his former girlfriend. So thought that was interesting. But what were your thoughts on Temp V, Dom?
I think it was a nice addition to the season. I think Butcher like put it pretty perfectly that the all it does is it heightens who you already are. You know, we already knew that Butcher kind of mirrored Homelander. He's very like aggressive. He wants to be the alpha male. He needs control at all times, and Power made him exactly what that character's powers are. Um, and it's just I couldn't tell at first. I was like, does he like it, or does he really think like this is just a means to an end? Because he says like, no, I fucking hated the feeling, but I'm like, did you though? Because I'm like Huey, like, you know, I hate it. Did you really hate it? No, it was fucking awesome. Like, you see? Like, and it's very interesting with Huey because his whole thing is he feels inferior because he's with a strong woman, right? And there's a lot of like their themes are so good. I mean, everybody's dealing with trauma. Huey's like, I feel insecure. Like he kept saying, like, I want to save you. I want to save you. And it's like, bro, like she's fine. But some dudes can't handle that. You know, we see it every day, which is why, you know, we have the people that like follow Stormfront, the little incel guys that you know, that's another story.
But
no,
and not to interrupt you really quick, but that's like kind of the beautiful parallel between like Starlight and Huey and Frenchie and Kamiko. Because Frenchie has no problem that Kamiko is strong, like no problem at all. But Huey has that like, because he wasn't able to save Robin. I think that he's always going to have something in him where it's like, I need to like save this woman, even though she's perfectly capable of saving herself.
yeah, and he didn't realize either that Huey was starting to come into his own. I mean, the fact that he was like, Kamiko, break my arm. They're like, what? No, I gotta do it because if not, Vicky's gonna like start asking questions. And it's like he was starting to get more ballsy without the powers, and I guess, you know, it's almost like you know, people who have to drink before going to do certain things. He needed like this extra confidence, I guess. Yeah, yeah. But I thought it was really cool. I feel like I wanted to see kind of like what was that Netflix movie with Jamie Foxx where there was like the little like Power something
Power Project Power or something.
Yeah. I wanted to see it on the streets. I wanted to see people strung out on like, hey man, I need another bump, man. Like makes me get real, you know what I mean? Like because Vought we've seen their whole thing is while they're powerful, everything they do turns to shit. I mean, Compound V itself has so many complications, things don't go right, but they have so much money, they can just keep covering up everything. So I'm curious to see if they keep at it the next season.
How did they get, this is the one thing I either missed or I'm confused about. How did they get from last season, they were experimenting, you know, putting it into adults and a lot of people not being able to handle that, to getting to Temp V where adults can take it, get the powers? Obviously we learn later it's atrophies their brains and you're going to die, but like the powers still took from the, you know, initial dose, whereas the Compound V last season, from the experiments we saw, some people took, but like most of them were failed experiments.
Yeah, I mean, that is interesting because even I thought the same thing, even when Kamiko asked for the permanent stuff.
Yeah,
I
had
thought that
too. And then I thought, well, maybe because her body was already used to it from, the start, that she was able to handle it again.
but then even is her real name's like Nadia, right? But Vicky, the head exploder lady,
Yeah.
right? Like she gave then the permanent stuff to her daughter, who is clearly like older than. So in the year that was supposed to go on, I guess they've perfected things, but it certainly wasn't something that they like really went into, you know?
I would
Uh,
assume it like extracted from like somebody who had offspring who was already powered in some way, or like when Huey goes to adopt a kid, the one kid who kept like teleporting everywhere, that was the son of the old CEO that Homelander killed in was it season 1, season 2?
oh
That was
yeah.
her son. So I don't know if they experimented on some of these kids and were able to extract and mix and do some things, and that's how they got it. But I mean, that's something that kind of makes logical sense to me.
Yeah, it was just something that I also kind of missed.
Yeah, I
Um,
was like, there is a leap here, and it's just like a fact.
well, and okay, so that also reminds me of another thing that I felt like wasn't explained properly is like kept saying Soldier Boy killed my family. But I'm like, I missed that. Has that always been a thing? Or he just like it was like, let me just mention it now, you know? Like I felt like I was confused with MM's not only his revenge with Soldier Boy, but like confused also like when did him and his wife split and her like get with this like really dweeby of a man who's now a Homelander fan. That I like missed. I was like, how do you go from to like what was his name, Tom or something?
Yeah.
Todd or something. I don't know. I was confused by that. Did either of you like were you taken back by MM's like whole revelation of, oh, Soldier Boy killed my family? Like it felt very vague to me. Dom, I'll go with you first.
The only thing I could really, because it was kind of like, kind of came out. I mean, I know he always had like a secret of why he hated Soup so much. The only thing I can think of is that like, so with A Train's kind of trying to be more pro-black, and then MM always being himself. I kind of felt like it was possibly a PTSD thing where it just kind of got triggered, and that's always a thing that's brought up in like growing up in the projects. Growing up, you have PTSD from all the shootings and people getting killed around you, type of thing. Which is why I kind of enjoyed his art, because he was trying his best to deal with it, and it's very difficult. And he's trying to be strong for his daughter, and then he has to deal with Todd. What is Homelander MAGA self. And so yeah,
That's literally what
It
that
was
was supposed to be.
manifesting in other ways too that they noticed over the season, like him with the steering wheel, and like, I mean, they really started to like dive into his history. So while it did feel like, where did that come from? I think they just really tried to develop him as a character overall, which I personally loved this season, and especially that scene he had with his daughter where he's like, your granddad is a hero, and she's like, you're the hero, dad. And him just trying to explain that not all soups are good, and like that's just like a conversation you would have with a kid about humans in general, right? So it's just like a very heartwarming scene, and his just whole storyline this season was one of my favorites.
Well, listen, had every right to punch out Todd or Tom or whatever the fuck his name is. When he was like, someone has to, in like regards to being a father, I was like, shut up, you little dweeby man. Like, shut the fuck up, honestly. I was happy when punched him out, and when it was like, oh, what are you doing? And I was like, you would be okay with like this man just telling the father of your daughter that, oh, someone has to be a father to this kid? Are you kidding me? Every right. I would like to see have powers next season, only because I'm pretty sure in the comics he does have like a degree of powers or something like that. So I'd be really interested in seeing him get powers. I don't know where the next season's going to go with the boys because they all feel a little, maybe not necessarily they feel divided amongst themselves, but they certainly are divided with Billy. And I think it's all Billy's doing where he's like purposely pushing people away. And I don't know, maybe it's just like my need for like resolution, but I want him to like resolve his issues with the group at least before he dies. But I'm trying to
What
see
was
if
the
go ahead.
what was the thing that kind of shocked y'all the most? Like, what was the most like outlandish thing that y'all witnessed?
Kelly, you can
I
answer
think
that
from
first.
I think for me, it was the fact that Homelander was making the Deep eat an octopus while it was alive, and he's like, "That's my friend. He's got a family," and
That was so awful.
he's getting controlled by his fake wife the whole time. She's like, "Eat the fucking octopus." I'm like, "Oh, he's really gonna make him do this right
And
now?"
then just turned on him at the end.
Yeah.
Wait, did you? Okay, so I don't know if either of you watched. So we got the three of us got screeners for the boys before it came out. I don't know if you guys watched it. So I watched the episode before they put like the new graphics in. So it literally was just like the Deep, like it looked like almost like a pixelated or like picture that he was like putting to
It was
his
like
house.
spinning.
Yeah. So it wasn't like as graphic as the actual episode was. I was like, this isn't bad. And then I was like, oh, wait, that's just a stand in. It was very funny watching it without the good graphics. There was one point where like a mouse or a gerbil was attacking someone, but instead of it looked graphic, it just looked like a picture that was just moving up and down while they were like, ah. So that was very funny. But Kelly, did you have a moment that shocked you?
Shock is hard because to me it's what's expected, right? Like there was a lot of like cover my eyes. The beating moments were just like a little too much for me, but I mean, Hero-gasm was great. I think I could say this. You could always edit it out. Seth Rogen for the soup porn,
Oh yeah.
hysterical. I mean, it was just for me like the random references that came out. I was just like, I was like applauding by myself in my bedroom. Like I enjoyed it. It was great. But yeah, I mean, even with the octopus eating the octopus and then his whole like sexual thing with
Oh my god.
too. So
I was wondering
he
how far
really,
his
he
wife
really
was gonna
does
go.
that character so well. Like as repulsive as some of those moments are, like he plays it well.
I did like seeing that scene at the end where his like fake wife was exposing him and he was like stress eating or something. And I was just like,
Yeah.
I like that there's like essentially no redemption for the Deep. It's just like, that's what happens when you sexually assault someone. You don't deserve essentially to be redeemed. So I do enjoy that. As far as shocking, like I want to say it was shocking the scene of watching the Deep like have sex with an octopus, but that's just where that show was going with. Honestly, Huey asking for his arm to be broken to me just was like the most like, oh my god, like knee-jerk reaction because that was intense. Oh, another shocking moment really quick was Nadia turning on Stan.
Yeah.
Like that was really shocking because as we were saying, like Stan essentially seemed to be the only person that like Homelander was afraid of. Because that just shows how like power move, like the extreme power that Stan has, even though literally Homelander could kill him. So once he was off the board, it was like, oh shit, that's gonna be crazy. So I think that was definitely a shocking moment for me.
I
Okay.
think this is like a very tiny, insignificant one, but when I know Ashley was pulling her hair out the whole season, but when Homelander's like, take your wig off, and she literally had pulled out all her hair, I was like,
She
That
was
was
really
definitely-
good this season.
She's
Yeah.
really good at playing that
She was
character.
so good.
Yeah, I'm so glad they gave her more airtime this season. She did.
When she echoes what Homelander says to that one guy, where she was like, what was it like, did stupid just fuck your brain or something like that?
Yeah.
And then she like pulled out the like, and I was like, oh my god, Ashley, what are you doing? She
Get her some
definitely.
benzos.
What'd you say?
I said to get her some benzos.
Yeah, the poor girl, man, the poor girl. So really quick, we can talk about not Homelander, Billy. Did we cover Billy essentially becoming everything that he hates? By the way, another shocking moment, him having sex with Maeve. I was like, that was random. That was very random.
Yeah. Yeah. I also felt the same way.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like there shit just happens in this show.
I mean,
so
listen,
like,
Billy,
it is shocking and random, but then you're also like, oh well, it is the boys. Like,
I mean, listen, like Billy and Maeve definitely have like self-deprecating like behavior. And for me, that was like their self-deprecating behavior. Like they were both drinking when they were trying to be sober. Billy is essentially having sex with someone who represents everything he hates. And Maeve is like having sex with someone who hates someone like her. So they're just both like self-deprecating there. But I guess I should just ask, like, what do you want to see in season 4? Dom, I'll start with you.
That's a good one. I want to see what's gonna happen with Stan. Because that was the most powerful man in the world who gets pulled off his throne, and he's waiting for everything to crumble. And since he's lost that power of control, is he gonna be somebody who's like who takes the V24 or tries the real thing, because he's lost his daughter essentially, and now he's lost Vought. Like, well, where does he go from here? You know what I mean?
That is true. I don't want to see the last of Giancarlo Esposito because he's so good in that character. So if there's some other way they can bring him in, I look forward to whatever the writers will put out.
He's like Robert De Niro to me. That's an intimidating man.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the more quiet he speaks, the more terrifying it is.
Oh, they got the perfect person for that role. Like no one else can convey it like he can. So I definitely want to see more of him. Kelly, what do you want to see in season 4?
I think to go with something like probably people aren't thinking about is to see where like Ryan's character goes, and if he has murky morality and starts to become corrupted and pulled into this really evil side of what we've seen so far, because he was raised a certain way and he was such an innocent, good kid. And I kept hoping in certain scenes that like he was gonna like have a like kind of a breakthrough moment that this isn't right. And then he kept like going back, taking I was gonna say Soldier Boy, Homelander's hand and calling him dad. And I was like, all right, I don't know where this is gonna go, but hopefully there's a good storyline there. And maybe he's the one that pulls Homelander out of, this shitty character that he's, been feigning for all of the seasons.
I feel like Kelly, you're being a lot more optimistic about Homelander's arc than I am. I just want to see him actually get killed.
Like he has to get killed, or like something has to change, because then it's too repetitive and it's gonna get like too much at some point. So it has to go in some kind of different direction.
I mean, I obviously want like Ryan and Billy to like reconcile before Billy dies, because if they don't, and this sounds bad because I love Carl Urban as Billy Butcher, but if they don't kill him at the end of season 4, I feel like it's almost, and I know this is a controversial thing in the geek community, but like, Iron Man essentially had to die at the end of Endgame, and I feel like Billy's arc will be like that. As far as season 4, I kind of want it to be like Starlight who takes Homelander down. I just feel like everything is kind of like going in that direction of her just really getting fed up with everything and taking shit into her own hands. But mostly I do also want to see get like powers. I think that would be really badass. And then maybe Kamiko and Frenchie just go off and like live a cool like traveler's life. They just vlog everywhere. It'd be nice. Why not? Right? So yeah, I mean, unless you guys have anything else you want to talk about with season 3 of The Boys, I think we did a good job of keeping it quick, getting to the point, but also not spoiling, say too much. All right. So if no one else has anything else they want to say about The Boys, I don't want to like cut anyone off or anything.
I guess there's one last thing I would say that if you're a fan of Starlight, she was kind of an errand person this season. She didn't really get to do or show a whole lot. It was her just playing like, do this and do that and say this. And while she got a lot of screen time, she didn't get to do a whole lot.
That's true.
I was a little disappointed in her character this season as well. But just because I don't want her to keep going into like that classic trope that she's been put in a lot. Like it's time for her to break out of that and be something more. So that, and I think my last comment is they really didn't give an F about, pissing people off this season. They made clear statements, clear references, and it definitely leaves you pissed off because you're like, wow, this is what's happening in the world and we need a reprieve, but this is just a reminder, but still entertaining. So
oh yeah, they're still entertaining while being completely on the money. I guess I want to say the one last thing is I did really love when A-Train like completely what was his name, Blue Hawk or something, and just like dragged him against the ground. I mean, I really thought A-Train was going to die, but again, they're like, nope, not dying.
You get a heart.
No one died except Black Noir. And it's like, I don't think any of us were sitting there going like, who should die this season? Black Noir. It's like, no.
And I really don't know how he didn't die the first time. I don't know if like it was dramatized. How do you say that word?
Dramatized. What?
You get what I'm saying, because it was the cartoons playing it out, but like I was like, how did he survive that?
Yeah, I was like, did that really? It's like, did that really happen? Because he should be dead. He should completely be dead right now. Yeah, that was, again, The Boys just is the epitome of weird, and I love every second of it. So,
it was weird and fantastic, just like you would expect it to be.
Yep. The Boys season 3, I feel like, was everything that you would want it to be. And I'm just looking forward to how season 4 kind of tops everything off. And I'm just going to put it out there that if season 4 is the last season, I would be completely okay with it. Not for a lack of loving the show, but just for the sake of story, pretty much. But yeah, exactly. Instead of dragging on like Supernatural and The Walking Dead.
Jensen back.
Yeah, that's my one request. Bring Jensen Ackles back. He's not doing anything right now, right? At least like Jared Padalecki has like a show. Jensen Ackles isn't doing anything, but I do want
Soldier Boy. Okay, Tia.
Soldier Boy. Maybe next year we'll have Jeffrey Dean Morgan in. That's been the rumor as well, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed about that. But thank you, Kelly and Dom, for joining me on this review of The Boys. I want to give both of you guys a moment to promote yourselves, and wherever you want people to follow you, just say it right now. Dom, you can go first.
Yeah, you already know, Mr. Review. We have a TikTok now, so I have to put myself out there a little more. But yeah,
I'll start helping you with that, Dom.
but yeah, I mean, it seems like the views are going up. Just gotta get the followers up, and whatever. Since we've expanded, we have more writers than ever. Look forward to whatever is written by someone else. I will try my best to also review that for TikTok and YouTube and whatnot. But next is Elvis and Black Phone, Minions, and I think we got Thor coming up, and as Tia writes it, I will try not to embarrass myself on TikTok.
I'm happy that you made us a TikTok, so I'll be posting those links down below. Make sure you're following us on TikTok. Oh man, us millennials figuring out TikTok.
Yeah.
I tried during COVID and posted one video, and
well,
but I'm ready.
Gotta work on that, Kelly. But yes, please everyone make sure that you follow Dom. Dom just posted a review for Jurassic World Dominion. And even though I haven't seen the movie, I feel like I feel your pain, Dom, in that review. So everyone, please make sure that you check that out. Kelly, where can everyone find you and follow you?
So check out my reviews on Geek Vibe as well as everyone else, and you can follow me on Twitter at K Cantro.
So simple, K Cantro.
This is like my least favorite part. Kelly, what do you want to say? Bye, everybody.
As for me, you can check me out on Twitter at TC_Stark. You can also follow me on Instagram, but I'm mostly posting on Twitter. Please make sure that you are staying updated, geek5snation.com. As Dom said, we have so many writers. The reviews are coming out. Dom, Dylan, Tristan, Trayvon, Michael Cook, Lee.
We've been doing some partnerships with charities too, so definitely check those out and help out where you can.
Absolutely. Please make sure that you check that out as well. And if you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, a subscription makes the difference. Mistake. You know, big mistake. How dare you guys not follow us? I know, maybe I should change my attitude with this part and be like, you better subscribe. No. I'm not that aggressive, but anyway, everyone, let us know what you thought of The Boys season 3. Thank you again. Please give this video a like, and we will catch you guys on the next review. Bye.